Okay, dokie.
Yeah.
Alrighty. What's happening, people? How you living? How you feeling? Let us know who we're hanging out with here. Tell us you're in the chat so we can say hello. Um, how are you feeling so far with your fantasy week? What do you need to happen tonight?
I need Christian Watson to do shit, and I need Romeo Dubs to go off.
Okay.
So I need Christian Watson. Maybe first snap is maybe get a concussion. Not no
Jeez.
season-ending injury. Maybe a concussion. Get him out and get Romeo Dubs in there because that's
Uh,
really the only way I can win.
I
But
don't like that.
I doubt I'm gonna win, to be completely
If
honest.
anyone
And
gets a concussion tonight, I'm solely holding you responsible. So.
that's okay. Hold me. I'll
And
put
you
my hand
deserve
up.
it. You
I'll
honestly
put my
deserve
hand
it.
up and say that is me.
Yep. What's up, people? Welcome in. I think first thing that we should just quickly discuss is the Achane news, because I do think that it's obviously important, and that's not exactly what you're supposed to be seeing on your screens. So let's change that, and let's get you to look at here. Okay. So let's try and find this report here. Man, I thought they would have more than just this. Let's see.
Yeah, it's not much
Ian
when it
Rappaport
comes
might
down.
might have more, but
Well, they didn't really release all that information until like late into the night, at
yeah.
least our time, early morning. So yeah, I mean, he can definitely be missing some time if it is that serious.
Here's the good news. The good news is that he came back into the game. So if it was really serious, I don't know that he would come back into the game, you know? Could be wrong, obviously. It's far too early. There is obviously a chance that he misses time. But that's the sign of hope for anyone, you know. Man, I can't find the freaking report.
I think it. I think it.
But
I think it just all depends as well. Like, if they rush him back in, because if I'm not mistaken, Jeff Wilson should be coming back. Should have his designation off IR coming this week, if I'm not mistaken. So
he's been activated off his, so he has 21 days to play.
21 days. To
might
play,
not be
yeah,
this
exactly.
week. We'll see.
So it just all depends on how he goes, and how severe the injury is for a chain, and then how quick Jeff Wilson's going to come back, because then we'll see. You know what, Devon, don't rush it. We have Jeff coming back, which I think they will probably feel comfortable with rolling with as well. But we'll wait and see what happens.
Yeah, we have to wait and see. But it is a very good matchup versus the Carolina Panthers. So if Achane plays, you play him. We'll wait and see. But Raheem Mostert might end up being one of my starts of the week when all is said and done. Let's see what's happened over there in Miami. All right, we are going to answer your questions here. So put them in the chat. We'll go in order. The only time that we go out of order is if you drop a super chat, so keep that in mind. Go ahead, do us a massive favor, and drop a like on the stream. It's such a simple way for you to support the channel. As you guys know, we are on the road to 2K, and as of today, we are currently, let me do some quick math for you guys. We're currently 774 subscribers away from 10K, so we are getting close. It's exciting. So do us a favor, drop a like, help the channel grow. First question is from Patrick Mahomey. He says, got my first loss of the season because of Stevenson. Would you make any of these deals? Dell plus Warren for Jacobs. First off, yes, that's an easy yes. Dell plus Warren for Jacobs. Or Stevenson plus Charbonnet for Jacobs. I would do either of those trades. Those are both smash trades, and I really struggle to understand why anyone would want Stevenson after, you know, the run of forms, but also why anyone would want to trade Jacobs away for him. I just don't understand that. So, yes.
Yeah, agreed.
Waddle, Olave, or Debo? Sammy says, I mean, I guess this is a week 6 question.
Yeah,
and
week 6 question.
I did just release my week 6 rankings before we went live over on the Flock Fantasy site. Waddle, Olave, and Debo was your question. And I'm going to lean at Waddle there. Olave's versus Houston. You know, they're pretty good against wide receivers. You got Debo Samuel versus Cleveland. They're also pretty good against wide receivers. So it would be Waddle for me.
I would go Waddle as well, but I think it is very close with Debo Samuel coming in to next week. Sammy.
Corey says start 2 running backs, Pacheco and Spears. This would be Pacheco this week for me. Pacheco has a great matchup.
Great matchup. Yeah.
Start 1 wide receiver, McLaurin, Drake, Rice, and Dell. This would be Drake for me this week, actually.
Drizzy. Yep. It's Drizzy Drake.
You know, Desmond Ridder has looked a little bit more competent, and he's targeting his weapons, at least in the last game he was. So is that an indication of what's to come, of the offense changing, or is that just maybe one-off game plan and it goes back to the Bijan Robinson show? We'll have to wait and see.
Styles says, I'm literally down by 1.2 points in half PPR after losing Aaron Jones. Who's best? Who's the best? Yeah. Hopefully.
Hunter Renfrow.
He says, absolute desperation options, Hunter Renfrow. Yeah, it has to be Hunter Renfrow there.
Yeah.
Hopefully that
best
helps.
Of luck.
Actually, just made this trade. Give Hopkins, Brian Robinson, Tank Dell, getting Kyron Williams, Roscoe, and Gainwell. I'm okay with that. I need running back help. Our running backs are Saquon and Ramondre. I'm happy if I'm getting Kyron Williams side with Roscoe and Gainwell there.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I think you gave up quite a lot, though.
D-Hop had one of his best games this week, so he could be a great sell high coming into this week. He probably will be on that list this week for me, potentially. But Brian Robinson, I think he just had a down game technically versus a great matchup. I think they abandoned that run game a bit too early there, but I think with Roscoe getting some more opportunity, we have to wait and see what that looks like. Because Kenneth Gainwell, it's not much now, right? I mean, it's clear as Swifty and like the main guy in that backfield.
Swift is the main guy for sure. Yeah, Gainwell's going to get worked in.
Him at any point in time. I just don't see where you can start him at any point in time unless Swift gets injured.
Right. Yeah, Brian Robinson is going to have better games. You know, that game plan just got completely thrown out to the wayside once the Bears were dominating in that first quarter. And they didn't actually run the ball, I think, from like the third quarter onwards. So that was tough for Brian Robinson. I think he's going to be better. I think he's going to have better games. I like Kyron Williams. He's the best player in this deal. But also the Titans kind of started clicking like, oh, you brought in DeAndre Hopkins. Maybe we should hyper-target him. You hyper-target him. I'm not saying that will happen every week, but also we know Hopkins was dealing with an ankle injury. Maybe he's finally healthy. I think he looked good. So to me, I just think you lost 3 potential starters and you're getting back 1 solidified guy, which is fine. But again, I just feel like unless Rashawn Johnson takes over this backfield, when Herbert's back, he'll have a role. I think that's been, to me, it's pretty clear, you know. So yeah, it's tough. It depends on the size of the league there. Should I deal Saquon for running back plus depth? No, you don't trade Saquon away. Trade Ramondre or hold for now. I mean,
can't really trade him away, to be honest.
Saying to trade him for since the beginning of the year, every week since then. I don't know what value he has anymore, though.
Yeah, you can't really trade him away, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so you're holding then?
Yeah, you have to hold. Can't really trade him. Thoughts on CD, Puka, Pittman rest of the season? I think all these guys are going to be great so far. I mean, Puka, we saw he can be relevant with Cooper Kupp there. I think they're both going to be hand in hand. CD Lamb obviously has been disappointing for Dallas and how they performed last night. But they're definitely better games. This is his worst game so far this year against San Francisco. But he has a great matchup against the Chargers next week. So keep that in mind as well. And then Michael Pittman, I think it all depends on Gardner Minshew, who I think we both like to support fantasy relevant wide receivers. You saw what he did in week 3 with Gardner Minshew, 9 out of 11 targets. Not all of those 9 targets, 9 receptions and 11 targets came from Gardner Minshew, but he was still getting a lot of work in there. So looks like Anthony Richardson is going to miss about a month, potentially going on IR as well. So I think we're okay with Michael Pittman moving. At least I am. I am okay.
Yeah, I would rank it CD, Puka, Pittman. Still, I wouldn't. I'm not, giving up on CD myself. They're going to be better. They're going to have better games. They're not going to face the Niners every week. And, this offense is much better than what they showed us last night. Like, overall, I'm not really freaking out about any of the offense last night, outside of, just not being excited about Dak, which we already were talking about that. Kenneth says, trade Christian Watson and Gibbs for Olave and Khalil Herbert. Trade Watson and Gibbs for Olave and Herbert. Running backs are Pollard, Kamara, Pierce, and Rashawn. So essentially, you're getting Watson. You're getting Olave over the Watson side. I don't know, man. I still prefer Gibbs here, just because, we already know that Herbert's going to miss multiple weeks with a high ankle sprain, and there's a chance that Gibbs does become more involved in the offense. I like Watson. I'd like to see what he looks like with, a full allotment of snaps. So I would be holding the Watson side myself.
What's happening, Dave? How you doing? Yes, we spoke about A-Chain's injury. Akshay says traded Saquon and Pittman for Dave Montgomery and Metcalf. Same squad. I'm okay with it either or. Personally, I think it's a fairly even trade, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Big breakfast. I play against both Chase and DJ Moore in one of my dynasty leagues, and down by 70, I have Watson left, and he has Love. Well, hopefully he can do something crazy, but if not, good luck, brother. Looks unlikely. Brandon said traded Debo and Kenneth Walker for Eckler and Addison. Traded Debo and Kenneth Walker for Eckler and Addison. Thinking of starting Addison over Devonta Smith going forward following the JJ injury. Personally, I personally still like. Let's go with the trade question first. Debo Samuel and Kenneth Walker for Eckler and Addison. I personally like Debo and Kenneth Walker long term, just because of the Debo side. I think he will have better games. But going with starting Addison over Devonta Smith, yeah, I think all depends on what happens with Justin Jefferson personally, and how long he's going to miss time. But I'm still starting Devonta Smith over. Oh my goodness, Devonta Smith over Jordan Addison for me moving forward personally.
Yeah. I would go Smith over Addison. Addison is one of my most exciting starts this week, though. Ken Walker for Eckler and Addison. The good news is Eckler's already had his bye week. That is something that I do genuinely think about.
Same thing with Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, that's fair. But I do prefer Eckler over Kenneth Walker myself, and I do think there's a chance that Walker, eventually Charbonnet eats into Walker's role. I'm not going to say that Walker is not going to be a great fantasy player. I do think he will, but there's a chance that Charbonnet, a rookie, grows a larger role. And I just don't see anyone people are saying Joshua Kelly was going to take over Eckler's role. It's clear that Joshua Kelly is not a good football player, no disrespect. Eckler is still a locked and loaded top 5 guy every single week, regardless of matchup. You lose Mike Williams. Eckler was great last year because they had injuries to their wide receiver room. And I think Addison, we're going to start seeing breakouts. Whereas Debo, my concern has always been when everyone's healthy, Debo Samuel is very boom bust, or he is just very around 10 to 11 points per game. Whereas I think Addison could genuinely break out. So I will go the Eckler side myself. Yeah, that's what I would do. And I guess it's a little bit of projection, but yeah, that's more exciting to me. We have a super chat from RM here. Thank you for the donation, man. We'll get to your question straight away. The question is, who do I start week 6? Olave or Gabe Davis? I have Allen and Diggs. I asked because Olave is recovering from injury, and Carr. Yeah. So
yeah, no stress. I mean,
this would still be Olave for me. Olave at the Houston Texans. The Texans aren't a very good matchup, but the good news is that at minimum, we know that the Texans can score points and they can move the ball. CJ Stroud's been great. That wide receiver room has been great. So it's not the same Texans team as we are accustomed to, where every week you just run the ball on them, you dominate, and they don't ever really have a chance to come back. I'm still going Olave. He's going to be healthier this week. Derek Carr is going to be healthier this week. And Gabe Davis, while he did have 8 targets, I would still put him in that kind of boom bust category. Most games, the Bills aren't going to be down, right? And you have to think about that. When they're down, then Gabe Davis is a must start. So who do they play this week? The Bills.
Play the Giants.
So I don't think they're
sense.
going to be down. I would go Olave still myself, unless we hear some sort of news that he's injured.
Yeah, I'm going Chris Olave as well. To be fair, that touchdown did kind of save this performance this past week. He did only catch 2 out of 5 targets, but they were up significantly.
There's
so
no
they
reason
didn't really
for them to throw
they
the
didn't
ball.
really have to do anything. Okay, so keep that in mind. But thank you so much for that super chat, RM.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helps, and hopefully we'll see you later on in the week. Ashton, we also
By the
got a
way,
super
I
chat
just wanted to quickly add something there before we go on.
Mhm.
Alvin Kamara had 22 carries. Kendre Miller had 12 carries. So we are looking at total 34 carries between the two. That's pretty rare, but it just goes to show how much in control of the game they were in.
Yeah, 100%. Ashton, once again, thank you for the super chat. Abdullah or Aaron Jones down by 3. Who do I start? Well, Aaron Jones is out.
Aaron
So
Jones is not playing, so you would officially get 0 points from him.
yeah, so it looks like you're gonna have to go Abdullah, and hope that he gets you 3 points somehow, some way. So hopefully that helps, brother. Good luck. Thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we do. By the way, 45 people watching. Can you guys do us a favor? Go ahead and smash that like button. Such a simple way for you to help the channel grow. As you know, we're on the road to 10K. Every time you drop a like, it does help people find our channel. So go ahead, do us a favor, hit that like button to show some support. We're going to answer your questions in order. Super chats are the only exception. They get answered with priority. Rich is the next question. He says, "Sup, boys? Thanks for the content. We appreciate your advice. No question. Just want to show love from San Diego." Love that.
All love, man.
San
Thank you so much,
Diego.
Rich. San Diego.
It's
Carmen San Diego.
Njobo. Says trade Mostert for Pacheco and then A-Chain gets hurt. Maybe go figure. Trade Mostert for Pacheco. I still think that's the right move long term. Unless it's a serious injury, I think you made the right move.
Yeah, we have to wait and see what happens there.
Dave says, no matter what, I'm super thankful Badaki traded me A-Chan. What was that trade? I don't remember.
I think I traded him. I got a second back in 2024.
Okay.
I just don't remember if there was any other pieces for
Right.
that, but I'm still happy with that. I mean, it looks like it's in favor of Dave, but I still think they will bring in somebody next year potentially, but wait and see what happens.
All right. That's fair. A man says, full PPR. Do I start Mostert and Gabe Davis? Or do I trade Mostert and Gabe Davis for Keenan?
He Mostert and Gabe Davis or Keenan Allen. I guess it depends on your running back room and how long Devon's going to be out. I think if Devon's out a significant amount of time, you might want to keep Mostert. I don't think this is a trade maybe you want to do now until we understand how long he's out for, unless he is only doing this.
Yeah, I don't think he would do this if he knew.
Yeah, if he knew. So
A-Chain was healthy.
I think that it just really depends on what that other person is trying to. Maybe is he trading for Raheem because he needs a running back? Look, end of the day, I would do this trade because of Keenan Allen, how big of significant jump that is for your team. But it also depends on, are you losing a running back? You know.
Yeah, I would be comfortable getting the Keenan side. I'll take the quality over quantity for sure. But of course, it does depend on the running backs. AC, what's up? I'm Jaden Reed. Greater than 15 points from going undefeated this week. I don't know Jaden gets over 15 points, but I wish the best for you, you know. What do y'all think of Downs, DeMarcado as pickups? Yeah, I would say DeMarcado is pretty high on my list. You know, obviously Keontae Ingram suffering an injury right now. If Keontae Ingram is even ready to come back next week, he's clearly not going to be like ready to take on that kind of workload. DeMarcado is probably the better pass catcher as well, so he would be pretty close to the top of my list personally. Especially with how needy people are at running back. Played 77% of the snaps last week. 13 touches. Now he gets the Rams. You know, undrafted guy, got some juice. He would be my priority one of my top 3 priorities this week myself.
Yeah, I like Marcado Bohem as a priority as well this week. Not as high, because I do believe if Keontae does get back from injury, which I did say in the video, maybe they'll lean him. But it just all depends on who's available on your waiver wire there. So I like both of these guys as pickup. Josh Downs as well, especially with Gardner Minshew being there.
Yeah, we got a super chat here from Aki. So, should I trade away Puka, Nico, Samuel for week 6? I mean, the better question, man, is what can you get in return?
Yeah.
I don't personally feel any need to trade away Puka Nacua. I don't think you can trade Nico for what you could have gotten last week, so I wouldn't be willing to do that myself. And then Deebo Samuel, same thing. I mean, I would be willing to trade Deebo Samuel, but I've kind of been talking about that for a little while. Yeah, I mean, I would rather have like a Waddle rest of season. Devonta Smith, I think, and that's a pretty good buy low at the moment. Ridley, if someone would still do that now. I'd rather have his teammate in Ayuk. I think he's the number 1 guy on that team. Would rather have DJ, but you probably can't do that anymore. Would rather have CeeDee Lamb, but I'm not sure you can get some of those deals done anymore.
Yeah, I would agree there.
But yeah, again, like the bigger question is, okay, what could you trade them away for? That's the bigger question. Pete, what is up? He says, I have Jacobs, Bijan, Aaron Jones. Wide receivers are Adams, Chase, AJ, CD, Fields, quarterback. Any suggestions? We don't really do any team grades on these streams, my man. We do team grades through our fantasy hotline, which is, a service we provide with people who support us on the Flock Fantasy website with our promo code LAND. But yeah, it's just too many questions to do team breakdowns on these live streams. That's more of a personalized thing we do for people who support us. Donald says, already won my week. Just here to listen. Love that. Welcome, Donald. Jonathan Taylor for Hollywood Brown. I'm still going to take Jonathan Taylor rest of the season.
Yeah, I would as well. Hollywood has been great,
Yeah.
to be completely honest with you. But, yeah, I mean, you have to expect JT getting some more workload coming here soon, especially with Anthony Richardson going to miss some time. So I'm going JT as well.
Yeah.
We answered that question. It's Akshay said trade Saquon for Kenneth Walker and Zay Flowers. For Kenneth Walker and Zay Flowers. I think if you need the wide receiver, I'm okay with that trade personally.
I mean, I think I prefer Kenneth Walker and maybe over Saquon rest of the year. So
Maybe,
the fact that you get Flowers, I'm pretty happy with that myself.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. Patrick Mahoney says the person I'm trading. Right. Okay.
Well, that guy's just gonna make his team worse. But fair enough.
Unlucky for him. Is Godwin and Rachaad White too much for Pacheco?
Yeah.
And Rachaad White, yes, I would say so. I would say if you can trade Godwin to get Pacheco, I think he has been great. I think it's going to continue as well, the way is going on. So if you need a running back, do that.
Yeah.
Would you trade Kyron?
Joby is the next one.
Yeah. So would you trade Kyron for Pittman and 2 points per reception? Still have Pacheco and Mixon, only 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I would agree there. Drew, any general advice for new fantasy players? Also, any tips for consistent points? Feeling like I've been a roller coaster. I mean, that's fantasy. To be completely honest, fantasy is a roller coaster. Yeah. Every single week, your team is gonna. One week, your team goes off and is the best team of the week, and you say, "This is why I drafted this team." The next week, you'll be the worst team and said, "Now you're panicking on your team."
Yeah.
Right. You can have the best quarterback. You can have Patrick Mahomes hypothetically that will drop 8 points, and you said, "Holy shit."
Yeah.
What's happening?
I mean, you'll have AJ Brown in week 2 under 7 points, and he's been maybe top 3 wide receiver in weeks 3, 4, 5. You'll have Devonta Smith first 2 weeks. You feel like an absolute king, and I'd be like, oh my god, my roster's falling apart. There's just variance throughout football. There's variance throughout your lineups. Overall, I would say stay calm. We have videos on. Hopefully you've been with us since the beginning because I guess I'll like hype us up a little bit. We've been killing the waiver wire videos. And hopefully you got those guys because waiver wires will win people leagues this year. Waiver wires are important. Don't undervalue them, especially in like the first 3 or 4 weeks. That's when you find like those real potential league winner guys. When there are more unknowns, and people aren't sure. Oh, is this serious? Is it not? But anyway, I mean, stay tuned to the channel. Waiver wire videos. We got trade videos. We got stashes. I put a stash video out last week. I'll do another one this week. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. And
Yeah,
you know, we have the fantasy hotline for anyone who supports us on the Flock Fantasy website. It's a direct DM where you can ask us any advice that you have or any questions that you have. I put that link in the chat in case you're interested. Make sure you choose a Mother Flocker tier and then DM us if you do. Patrick Mahomey, choose 2 of these 3 going to keep forward. This would be probably McLaurin and Dobbs right now, just because Dell is currently dealing with a concussion. So it's you kind of do have to play it a little bit closer when there's not an obvious choice.
Yeah, I'll rock with you there.
Yeah. Are we worried about Tony Pollard? No, I'm not worried about Tony Pollard. I think he's going to be just fine. He is still clearly and easily the number 1 guy there. I mean, if you watch the game before they took the first offense out, I mean, Rico Dowdle was just out there on a couple plays. Pollard was dominating touches. And, yeah, he's had a couple bad games, but he faced some pretty good defenses. He gets the Chargers in week 6, which is a great matchup, and then a bye week, and then the Rams in week 8. If anything, I'm buying low on Tony Pollard myself.
Yeah, I would agree. Don't panic on Tony Pollard. He's your guy. He's going to continue to do well there.
Yeah.
He's playing for the Lions, not the Bears. Okay.
Did we say that? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe we did. I don't know who said it, but I don't know. 7 Goats was good, Fantasy Land. I effed up yesterday right before the 1 o'clock, but let us know what you effed up with. Yeah. I want to know. Chris, would you do...
what would you do with Puka, A-Chain and Puka? I would keep him.
Yeah, keep him.
I don't see a reason to not have him on your team.
Mm-hmm.
Space Ghost says lost again, but getting cut back and seeing Burrow look good gives me hope. Love that for you.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's great. Can Adams have 12 points tonight, or will he get the Jair treatment? I mean... Devontae Adams, brother. Whether it's against Jair or somebody even better, he's gonna get those points. At least you hope so. So you start him with confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go, Josh Jacobs. Need as many points as he can get me. Winning secured already. Love that. Juicer says deep on Aguilar or Rondell Moore. I would go Rondell Moore personally. And the reason why I say Rondell Moore, and I would assume this week or maybe long term, is just purely based off of how we saw Rondell Moore used in the run game. Not this week, but in the past, right? So if James Conner is down and then Rondell Moore can get a carry or 2 in the backfields and break out, then that can be something. I mean, I saw that against the Giants, if I'm not mistaken, where he had it was called back, but he had a really big run, was called back for that play. I think he ran like 50 yards and then called back, unfortunately. But I think they can kind of get creative with Rondell. But
this would be Nelson for me. It's very close, but it would be Nelson for me there. Nelson is playing a higher percentage snaps compared to OBJ and Bateman in their return, and like OBJ didn't look that great. Bateman dropped a wide open touchdown, and they have a very good matchup versus the Tennessee Titans. So I would say there's a very good chance that Nelson has, anywhere from like 8 to 12 points this week. So it's close, but I don't think you can go wrong because I don't think you can go right. But what can you do? Space Ghost says PPR need 2 wide receivers and a flex. Lockett, Higgins, Flowers, McLaurin, Williams, and James Cook. Yeah, this would be, I'm putting Lockett back out there for sure. And then Flowers for me. And then in your flex, it would be between McLaurin and Cook. And I think I would lean James Cook versus the Giants. I think he's going to have a good game.
I'm going James Cook as well.
Okay. Is it time to give up on Marvin Mims? No. Definitely not. He's definitely still someone I'm stashing. I don't know about you, Badaki, but...
yeah, I mean...
Typically, rookies, like, being super involved, unless they have ridiculously high draft capital, is kind of like the exception rather than the rule at this point of the season,
For me, it's just like... I do believe in him as a talent. I think the only way we can see true production, in my opinion, anytime soon, is if either Cortland or Jerry go down or get traded away.
Right.
Because that will kind of force, which is a huge possibility. Because
we've 1-4, right?
We've been hearing, yeah, exactly. We've been hearing it. So there is a possibility that he could get more workload, but we have to wait and see if that trade actually happens.
Yeah, if
So
that trade happens and he's on your waiver wire, he's instantly the number one pickup for everyone in your league.
yeah,
So
100%.
I'd be holding, but it's gonna come down to your league, I guess. Do you think Kelsey plays Thursday? I'm facing the best team in my league, and if Kelsey doesn't play, I have no chance. I got no idea. Absolutely no idea, Patrick. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. When I saw the play, because obviously I'm a Chiefs fan, I was watching the game, as most of you guys probably were anyway. I thought his Achilles tore. I really thought his Achilles tore in that moment, and I kid you not, I was spiraling towards a deep depression. Because I did not want to face what the future of this team looks like without Travis Kelce yet. And he's just, this offense is so much better with him out there. The fact that he came back though, played, is gives me confidence. But even more, the fact that he was out there on a Hail Mary attempt to defend. Do you do that with a player that has a high ankle sprain? No. So we know it's a low ankle sprain. I think there's a chance that he plays. But you really only find out how bad an ankle sprain is after the game, in the next couple of days, because that's when the swelling starts. That's when you really start to see the significance of the injury. So I couldn't say, but I would give it a 50-50 chance right now.
Yeah, no idea if he will play, but I think he'll probably be some sort of game time decision, in my opinion, when it does come down to it. So we'll wait and see what happens there. Chris, what's good, boys? What do you guys do? I think we answered that question. You keep him.
You keep him.
Thoughts on Devonta Smith? I have him. Should I sell when he has a boom game? I mean, I'm keeping him. I mean, this is an offense that has a significant amount of weapons. I think every single person he's going to be eating is going to eat in this game or throughout the weeks, right? But he's one of the best offenses in the NFL. I don't think you should trade him away personally, but
I would be willing to trade him away if the right opportunity presented itself, because it kind of does feel like it'll be a little boom bust. It almost feels like San Francisco with these weapons, but to maybe an even steeper extent. Like if I could get CeeDee Lamb somehow manage that, I would do it. If I could get Waddle right now, I think I would do it, as crazy as that sounds. So it just depends on what you could get in return. We do have a super chat from LT Gray. Justin Ross, 2 of 4 and a beautiful snag. 4th in targets for the Chiefs. If Kelsey doesn't play, watch out. I love LT Gray.
Believe.
As a Chiefs fan,
man.
I watched that man drop a wide open pass.
Yeah.
And that's what stuck out to me. But I love that the believers are looking at the 2 for 4.
Yeah, the 2 for 4. I was gonna say, didn't he drop a wide open pass? But that's funny. We appreciate you, LT Gray, as always.
Yeah, thank you. For the
shout out
donation.
to Justin Ross. They said he got Roscoe, so I'm assuming I got Roscoe in a second in that trade. That's fair. Phoenix, start Tyjae Spears or Zach Moss this week. I mean,
yeah.
I guess I think the better question is, what's that report gonna look like?
I think regardless, it's Zach Moss for me.
Jonathan Taylor's going to get ramped up, like even more. But at the moment, I agree. You have to start Zach Moss with the hot hands. 23 for 165 yards yesterday against Tennessee, who, mind you, have a great run defense and clearly did not show that. And that was with Anthony Richardson and half without Anthony Richardson. So, Zach Moss is definitely the guy moving forward, and I think that gives it even more of a reason for the Colts to say, you know what, JT, take it slow.
Yeah.
Right? We got somebody here. But I don't know. I think anything can happen in any given week now with Zach Moss or Jonathan Taylor, but it has to be Zach Moss.
Yeah, it's close. Goat Ring says 224 first, both projected to be top 4. Kyler for Mahomes. So you're saying 224 first that are both projected to be top 4, and Kyler Murray for Patrick Mahomes. 12 team, 2 quarterback, full PPR. I own Watson, Jackson, A-Rich, and Kyler. I don't know about you, but I love Pat Mahomes. But if those are actually 2 first-round picks in the top 4 this year,
I would rather keep it.
I think I'm keeping that with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's value will grow when he's back, in my opinion. I don't care if he gets traded. Like, again, we've talked about this. Where does he go where he's not a starter? You trade him, he's a starter, someone takes on that contract. And if you have a chance to get Caleb Williams and Drake May and add them to maybe one of Marvin Harrison Jr., it would be hard for me to make that move if those truly end up being 2 top 4 picks.
Yeah, I would agree there. I would completely agree. Jack, how do you feel about Herbert with his non-dominant hand injury takes away his career high rushing? His stats were. I think we need to hear a little bit more about it, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure he's been trying to figure out how to throw the ball with a glove on his hand, or I think if I'm not mistaken, the nail ripped off, or I don't think he broke his finger. Correct me if I'm wrong there. He didn't break a finger or anything. I think it was some sort of like,
Ooh, I don't know.
I think he had like a big cut and his nail ripped off.
Right.
But if he broke his finger and broke like multiple fingers on his non-dominant throwing hand or non-dominant hand, there's definitely something that we can look into.
Yeah.
But
so what concerns me is just like the stability of like taking a snap, feeling comfortable in the pocket, being able to move,
okay,
you know, being able to grip the ball. I know it's not his dominant hand. Obviously, if this was his throwing hand, it would be maybe worst case scenario outside of like a season ender. But yeah, I think he'll be fine. Like the bye week as well would have helped. They'll figure it out. He's still someone that I pretty comfortably rank inside my top 5.
Yeah, agreed.
So yeah,
it was
Kyle
he
Pitts,
did get a fractured finger, by the way. Anyway,
okay.
Continue.
So what did they say what it was?
No, it just said suffered a fractured finger on his left non-throwing hand, and he also suffered a gruesome nail injury. So I'm assuming his nail probably ripped off, something nasty, and then he broke his finger as well.
Yeah.
So
I think like also maybe there's not any of those goal line rushing touchdowns like on the 1 yard line. Okay, do they do a quarterback sneak or is it Eckler? Probably not Justin Herbert anymore. You're probably not putting your hands out there like that. So that is something to consider. Kyle Pitts is alive. Yes, finally we saw Kyle Pitts targeted and accurately. So we'll see if that continues.
Yeah.
We've answered this question a couple times already. Brock says, "What would you PPR? Should I trade away Kamara for Bijan?" Absolutely. If I can get Bijan, I'm still doing that. I don't know about you, but
yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm saying like I'm not gonna break my back for it personally. I think Kamara has been doing exactly what I expected him to as he came back. So I'm not gonna sell the house for Bijan. At least I wouldn't want to, but I understand if you have to.
So you prefer Kamara rest of season or Bijan?
No,
because that's really the question, right?
I prefer Bijan.
Okay.
But I'm saying like, if I have to give you Kamara and a big wide receiver to get Bijan, I don't know if I want to pay that price right now personally.
No, for sure. He's saying straight up though. So
yeah, Kamara straight up, 100% for Bijan.
GTB, what's up, man? Hello. Would love to hear both your thoughts on Olave. It looks like Kamara's turn really hurts his production. Yeah, I think context there is just super important. Why did they need to throw in yesterday's game? Like, let's really think about that. At what point in that game do they need to throw? Maybe in the first quarter for the first couple minutes, you know?
Yeah.
There's just no need for them to throw the ball. Dominating this terrible Patriots team. This is probably the worst Patriots team we have seen maybe in the last 25 to 30 years.
I think this is the first, I saw a weird stat. It was like 2 back-to-back games that Bill Belichick has lost by over 25 points or something ridiculous like that in his career. And yeah, it's pretty bad, this offense. I don't know. I would say this. I'm not panicking on Chris Olave, but if he comes out next week against the Texans, who are known to score, like you said, and he doesn't put up, even though it is a bad matchup for it. Like there's 2 sides to the coin when it comes down to next week specifically, because Texans are good against wide receivers, but at the same time, if they can't score, it's like, dang, like, was it Derek Carr? Is it Chris Olave? Are they not clicking, or was it the defense? What is it, right? And I think a lot of people are going to start panicking when it comes down to that. I'm not saying I am. I say there could be a good conversation next week for it if that is the case.
If you were to sell him now, you would miss out on Jacksonville week 7, Colts week 8, Bears week 9, Vikings week 10. So yeah, next matchup is tough. and
Mhm.
Olave's getting healthy. Carr's getting more healthy, but you'll miss out on 4 really good matchups upcoming.
Yeah.
Dalton, what is up? Would you trade Olave for Nico Collins and Purdy 10-team superflex? Yeah, in a superflex, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't do this in a 1 quarterback, but superflex for sure. I think that's undervaluing Brock Purdy there. Akshay says, thoughts on Zay Flowers versus Metcalf rest of season. Who would you rather have? I mean, I would rather have Metcalf, but it's very close. And it wouldn't really push any needle for me. You know, if someone was like, hey, man, here's a trade. You're getting a massive upgrade in DK Metcalf. I'd be like, am I, though?
No,
You sure about
yeah.
that? Because I don't really feel like I am.
I think,
So, yeah.
I would agree there. I think who is more needed in that offense would be Zay Flowers. Personally, OBJ is not healthy and
Yeah.
kind of what we expected. And Rashad Bateman is still not clicking with Lamar Jackson. So I would actually prefer Zay Flowers, but
think
I
that
would
makes
agree.
sense.
It's very close. It's very close, and it doesn't move the needle significantly for me
And
either.
Zay was so close to a
Bro,
huge game.
I think there was so many
massive game.
Didn't he?
And
He
you know,
dropped so many big passes. didn't
well,
he?
he had 2 drops, and one of them I understood. The other one was like, damn, bro, that's a mental mistake. What I will say is, like, the deep ball to him. I know everyone's putting this on Zay Flowers. I don't know, just me personally, as an unbiased viewer, that ball could have been in stride. It wasn't in stride. Like, he beat the cornerback
Right.
and the safety over the top.
Right.
And if that ball is in stride, my guy's gone for a touchdown. It wasn't in stride. It was, but like to the, if you're looking at the field to the left of him, he did have to readjust. He stumbles a little bit. So if that ball's in stride, that guy's gone. I mean, he was so close to a huge day. And yes, you have to put that day mainly on the receivers. But in that one instance, I was like, damn, Lamar, like that ball was a duck. If you watch that, if you
Right.
watch that replay, like that ball
Right,
was
right.
not some sort of dime that just like, holy shit, how do you miss it? Obviously, hey, elite wide receivers, they adjust and they make the catch, you know, but
Yeah.
he was so close to a humongous day. He really was. Montgomery versus Walker rest of season. That's a really good question, honestly. Montgomery was a my guy coming in. I can't believe we're even having this conversation now. Like my hot take was Montgomery finishes top 20 when I was having my guy takes this year. He's the RB8 and he missed a game this year. Insane. But I think there's a good chance you see more of week 1 and 2 when Gibbs is back than consistent weeks 4 and 5. You know,
I would agree, but I don't think they understand who they didn't. I don't think even the Lions understood who they were then.
Sure.
Where it feels like they're not saying they're not confident in Gibbs, but they're significantly more confident in Monty. They understand how they want to run the ball, and they know when it gets into that goal line opportunity is going to be Dave Montgomery, and they've been in games where they were down by a lot, and Jahmyr Gibbs wasn't used, specifically in the Seattle game, right? Like Jahmyr Gibbs wasn't used more. He was used more in the air. He had his best game in the air that game. I don't know. I feel like it's Monty personally for me.
Yeah, I mean, I love Monty. My guy coming in, you know, have him everywhere. Big fan of him. I think you probably regret the Miles Sanders Monty trade now. Remember we did that in the Dynasty League, and I was so pissed off. I was like, damn it. But, you know, right now, Gibbs is struggling in pass protection. He will get better. Like, it's going to take some time for him to really hone in on that role so they can rely on him on third downs. So, yeah, I mean, I just really believe that they believe in Jahmyr Gibbs, and they're waiting for the right time. Like, there will be a game when, you know, after the game press conference, coaches are like, so, you guys got any questions now? You know, can you lay off our backs? Can you chill? Like, we know Gibbs is good. We're waiting to deploy him in the right way. But, yeah, I think I prefer Kenneth Walker rest of season.
Not G. What's good, guys?
Did you? What about you?
Yeah, I like Kenneth Walker. I like Kenneth
Okay.
Walker. I did say I think it's Monty's backfield moving forward potentially, but it is Kenneth
I don't
Walker for me.
disagree, but I think Gibbs will be involved.
Yeah. Um, Curious about how you feel about Walker's trade value. I mean, I'm personally keeping. If you're asking to say, how much you're going to be spending in a redraft, I mean, I think we both say, keep your running backs depending on how you're looking. But Kenneth Walker is a top 10 running back for me right now moving forward.
Yeah, he might be top 7. Uh, Seven Goat says, if I said I effed up on Zach, if I effed up on Zach, Will laughed on the stream. So I had a trade in my inbox and I didn't counter. Brock was my QB3, and at 12:30 it became DJ to pair with Kirk and A-Rich. I'm really confused. Wait, so Brock was my QB3.
So you traded away Brock Purdy and it became DJ as in Daniel Jones to pair with Kirk and Anthony Richardson. Like, why would you pair? Is that DJ Moore?
No, DJ
I
Moore
don't-
would have already played.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is it because he says DJ to pair with Kirk and Anthony Richardson? Like, I don't understand what the pairing means.
He's telling me that he sat Brock Purdy, and he knows I love Purdy. There was a
Right.
trade where in our league I think I traded like Mac Jones and Ayuk for Purdy and Terry. And there was another guys who do content, and they were saying that like I got taken for a ride basically because Mac Jones has higher upside than Brock Purdy. And I was just talking in our league chat saying like I think that's absolutely ridiculous. So he knows I love Purdy. Maybe that's why he's saying he sat Purdy. That's why I would be upset.
Right.
I'm not sure. Let's see.
Right,
There's
okay.
there's a
Maybe.
clarification. It says no. I traded Purdy for Daniel Jones. Oh yeah.
That's 12 my QB3 behind Anthony
I mean,
Richardson.
that would that would be a tough question for me before the year. I wonder what confidence you had to do that after what we've seen from the Giants.
Yeah, like I would 100% would have said Daniel Jones beginning of the season over Brock Purdy, especially with the long-term contract. But in my biased opinion, not that Daniel Jones hasn't been playing great, but I don't think not even I think 90% of it falls on that offensive line. Has no time whatsoever. So it's hard to evaluate him at the moment, but that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, Brock Purdy, I mean, definitely should have kept him.
Not much you can do. It's all right. Itty Bitty Titty Committee says, what's good, fellas? Better stash in a 14-team half PPR. Tajay Spears or Rashawn Johnson? Rashawn will miss the next week due to concussion. I don't know, man. I mean, he played Thursday night. There's a good chance he could play, right?
And that's exactly what I said on the, he's my first waiver wire priority coming into this week. And I kind of mentioned that as you play on Thursday night, you have a mini bye week that everyone likes to say. You get those extra days off to recover from any sort of injuries. And normally concussion, people can have a concussion, for example, somebody had a concussion last week and they can play next week. I guess it just depends on the severity of the concussion.
Well, I get what he's saying because typically if like you get a concussion on Sunday, you're not playing the next Sunday almost ever. But Thursday night is different. I just don't know. I can't think of the times in my head,
I think long term for me, I would rather play Roscoe. I'd rather pick up Roscoe long term. Because that's exactly what we were expecting. We were expecting him to kind of take over this backfield or at least get a 60 or 50 to 40% workload maybe in the second half of the season. And we're seeing that now. So
yeah, sure. I can see that. It's Njobu says, Mixon, Kyron, Pacheco, sit one, then whichever you sit. Do you start at flex over Zay or Rashee Rice? So Mixon, Kyron, Pacheco. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I might be sitting Mixon. Yes, I have Pacheco ranked higher, and I definitely have Kyron ranked higher, like both of their matchups this week. But then the question is Mixon or Zay Flowers. I'm going to go Mixon there. I'll go 3 running backs.
Yeah, this one's so tough, and the reason why is because Zay Flowers is playing the Titans, who do great against the wide receivers, and we didn't technically see that this past week. if I'm not mistaken, the Titans kind of held. Well, not really. You think of Josh Downs and Michael Pittman. I'm going Zay with that and sitting Joe Mixon as well. So
Okay.
Kyron Pacheco and sit Joe Mixon and start Zay Flowers there, because of the Titans giving up a lot of points. Volpe down 26 with Adams and Watson. What are you thinking? Doable.
Oh, you have Devontae Adams and Christian Watson? I would say
Yeah.
you're the favorite.
Yeah, doable for sure. Is Matthew Stafford for Deshaun Watson a good trade? It seems like it. I would say that Deshaun Watson didn't practice today, which is also concerning.
Yeah. Coming off of a bye week.
Yeah, coming off of a bye week as well. Apparently, it's a bone bruise. So either he's giving himself another day to rest, and maybe he comes back and practice full participation tomorrow. But I'm still keeping Deshaun Watson long term. But Matthew Stafford is kind of had his best game this week, over 20 points against Philly. I picked off Matthew Stafford, started him this week because I did have Deshaun Watson on a bye. So I'm still keeping Deshaun Watson though.
Yeah. Geez, that is tough, man. Matt Stafford looks great. And
Yeah, he looks great with Puka and with what you call it, Cooper Kupp and Puka and Kyron. I mean, it's good. I think he can definitely come back. Like he is definitely like, okay, this is the old Matthew Stafford that we were drafting. If you drafted him early, and that when they won the Super Bowl, you were buzzing, you know.
Yeah.
So,
I'll be going Matt Stafford there myself. I'm pretty excited about this offense. So, yeah. Scooby, what's up, man? Should I trade away DJ Moore, Brian Robinson, and Zay for CD and Pollard? Should I trade away DJ Moore, Brian Robinson, and Zay? I pretty comfortably would take the CD and Pollard side here myself.
yeah, I agree. I would agree
Volpe
there.
says week 6 start Hall or Miles Sanders. I'm going Hall. It's a bad matchup, but Sanders right now is being out-touched by Hubbard, which is something that we've talked about in a couple videos in the last couple weeks. A little bit concerning. And start Christian Kirk or Jordan Addison. This would be Addison for me this week. Also, should I roll with Dak this week with AR-15 out? Look, Dak is a fine play this week, but there are players I'd rather have. I'd rather have Stafford. I'd rather have Howell. I'd rather have Stroud, Geno, Purdy. So I guess it depends on what options are available to you.
Yeah, I would agree there. When it comes down to the wide receiver, I think I might go Christian Kirk over Jordan Addison, but maybe this week I could be wrong, especially I think I need to understand the injury with Justin Jefferson more. But I think obviously if JJ plays, I'm going Christian Kirk, and if not, then I could be leaning Jordan Addison there. So hopefully that helps. Brandon, what are you doing with Gibbs in Dynasty? A little freaked out. You're still keeping him. He's still top 12. A guy that got drafted in the top 12 in the NFL draft. If he can pick up in the second half of the season, then we can see, okay, this could be the workload that we can envision him without David Montgomery or whatever the case may be. So
Right. Yeah. Definitely concerning in Dynasty, just because, a lot of people were led to believe that this wasn't going to be like a Swift situation, and it almost feels maybe worse in some ways at the moment. But definitely would prefer Devon Achane if that's a possibility. I don't know if you would agree with me there. Not sure where you stand on that, but I would prefer Achane right now if that's possible.
I'm still going Gibbs, but I think Devon is close. Is closer than maybe we all think, but I think it just depends on how you guys envision this offense looking in the future. Like I envision Gibbs playing a bigger role this year, and HN looks like he's gonna continue to grow in his role as well, even though his role is technically still limited, which is crazy.
Yeah. Just
so
super efficient player and a very efficient offense. Man, yeah, I'll take Achane there.
Cousins or Purdy week 6. I'm thinking Cousins because of the matchup, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, Cousins is a start of the week for me. I'm with you versus the Bears. Thoughts on Laporte the rest of the season? He's a locked and loaded top 5 tight end.
Bulk it up.
He might even be tight end 4, maybe higher. I mean, it depends on each week with matchups. This week he's my tight end 3, so I have him ahead of Mark Andrews this week. It just depends on the matchup that you got there.
Yeah.
D. Holly says, I traded DJ White and Mondre for Kyler, T-Law, Pollard, Pearson, Dotson. 12-team PPR, 1 flex, more. Okay. So I traded Fields, DJ Moore, Rashad White, and Ramondre for Kyler. Is this a super flex? Because I'm just confused.
For Kyler, Trevor Lawrence, Tony Pollard. If this is a super flex, I don't personally see why you would trade for Kyler. In my opinion,
I would see why you would trade for Kyler in Superflex. I don't see why you would do it in a 1 quarterback.
Yeah, the only reason, okay, I guess the way I should have framed that is like the way with the reports that are coming out, doesn't seem like he is going to be coming back anytime soon. You know, I was kind of projecting him to come back from weeks 5 to 6, 7, and he is nowhere near that. It sounds like. I'm not necessarily sure if he's going to play this year. So if you do that in a super flex and you receive Kyler, it's kind of like, why? The way I see it.
Because he could come back week 10 and then you're going into the playoffs with the top 10 quarterback in super flex.
I guess, like, I mean, I understand that, but, you know, does he...
You see what Josh Dobbs has done? Imagine a better player in Josh Dobbs' situation.
I hear you. I'm not saying Kyler Murray can't come back and do that, but coming off an ACL, I don't think it in my opinion, I don't think it automatically clicks. I'm not saying he's not going to come back to that form, but I don't think coming off the ACL, he's going to come in and drop, 30, 25 plus points in your playoffs for you. And maybe that's me just playing it like a more cautious play, because maybe if he comes back and he doesn't have the rhythm that he expected and hoped, maybe the ball's a little bit off. Maybe that's why I'm a little bit hesitant, because I'm not sure if I'm extremely confident in starting Kyler Murray over Justin Fields in the playoffs if Justin Fields is still playing the way he's playing.
Well, yeah, I don't think anyone would, but when we're talking, we're talking Superflex here, right? Like, I don't think that would ever be a conversation for someone. It's more like, oh, now I have Kyler Murray. Do I start him or Daniel Jones? Do I start him or Baker Mayfield?
Oh,
or Bryce
100%.
Young?
Like,
or Dak Prescott? Like, I think there's huge value to him in Superflex. And we've seen quarterbacks come back off ACLs and perform pretty well. Joe Burrow most recently played really, really well coming off an ACL. But I'm confused by the question because I assume that it's 1 quarterback. I feel like you would say it's Superflex if it was. And in a 1 quarterback league, I guess, it's good to put Kyler on the IR, but I just don't really understand it.
Hopefully that helps.
But overall, I mean, Fields and DJ, I'm not a big fan of Ramondre. I'm not a big fan of Dameon Pierce. Like, these are just not guys that I've ever been excited about. Dotson doesn't look startable.
No.
So really, I guess the question is Fields, DJ versus really Trevor Lawrence and Pollard.
I guess the question is, what do you need?
Yeah.
How your running back's looking. Is Tony Pollard a massive upgrade to your running back room? That's great. You lost DJ Moore, who are your other wide receivers. Is he a big loss in your wide receiver room? Just all depends on what that looks like for you, D. Holly.
Yeah.
So
looks like he's got James Cook, Ramondre. Yeah, I don't love that Ramondre is like a relied upon running back for you now after this deal. It's tough, man. That's a tough one. Mohammed says, redraft question. Would you trade Hollywood for Devonta Smith? I would still prefer Hollywood or Devonta Smith, myself.
Justin Jefferson, hamstring. Considered a long shot to play in week 6. That just came out.
Mm-hmm.
According to Ian Rappaport.
Yeah.
I actually have to check some of my lineups because I do have Aaron Jones in a couple of leagues. I need to take him out.
So
But
any thoughts on the question or?
on the question, I would rather have Devonta Smith. I did say that. I would rather have Devonta. Sorry if I didn't say that.
It's
I would
okay.
rather
I was
have
just
Devonta
waiting for
Smith
you to
long term.
answer it.
Yeah, sorry.
All right.
Um,
Steven says better stay away from San Francisco players unless it's CMC, or else you'll have to guess which player gets CMC's leftovers. I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of disagree. I feel like there's 3 must-start players in San Francisco every week, but fair enough. We did just get a super chat. D. Holly says it's not super flex, just stick on IR for Murray. Yeah, in a non-super flex league, I don't really. Yeah, in that scenario, I wouldn't really value Kyler Murray very much, but
yeah, I would agree. That one's tough because you could have gotten a different asset, right? I mean, you could have gotten anyone else that probably would. You probably, I don't know. You just could have put anyone else there that could have given you value this year in a 1 quarterback league that you probably could have started. Is that a Tank Dell or Nico Collins? Is that whoever outside of a quarterback that could have brought you some more value in other times, personally. So
Ben says Cup is a top wide receiver rest of season? I would say top 6.
yeah, I would agree. Came back, looked like he didn't miss a step, and that's exactly what you want to see from Cooper Kupp.
I'm surprised, or he says he's surprised how scattered experts are. I'm curious what he means by that. What are people saying? Are we low? I feel like we might be right in the sweet spot, but I'm not sure. Mohammed.
One of the things.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say one of the things I did say. I was like, if you had Cooper Kupp and Puka, I did suggest to sell one of them, just so you don't have to limit your upside. And then, like, if you could have gotten a Stephon Diggs, if you could have gotten, a big wide receiver or a big running back that could have helped you, I would have been happy with that. And I said it didn't really matter to me who you traded. Trade one away to help your team in other areas. Could you gotten a Travis Kelce? Could you gotten a Mark Andrews? Obviously not after these injuries and the way they played, but in hindsight, it's 2020. But
Ben said, I think top 6 is pretty fair. I've seen him ranked as low as 12 to 15 range. Yeah, that doesn't really make much sense, does it? Mark in Souls. Oh, sorry. Mohammed was the next one. It says redraft question: CD or Waddle plus Miles Sanders. I'll take the CD Lamb side. I'll take the CD Lamb side. We don't know if Sanders is a startable asset yet. We don't know if he's healthy. Mark and Soul says, have Cup trade Puka and Kyron for Lamb and Montgomery. Oh, yeah. We're doing that.
For Lamb and Montgomery.
We're taking Lamb and Montgomery.
And this is a perfect opportunity. The perfect thing that I've been trying to say. You can build on that running back room and then still get another top wide receiver when you trade Puka away, when you have both of those assets. So it's perfect.
Kamara or Achane rest of season? Well, without knowing Achane's injury, you'd have to go Kamara. But if I knew Achane was healthy, it'd be Achane for me. We just don't know that that's the case.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I mean, he's getting the workload, or he's getting these explosive plays, so which is crazy. So I would agree. Amon-Ra playing this week? Not necessarily sure.
No idea.
Let's wait and see. I think that's something we need to look into later into the week, guys. By the way, guys, we're going to be live up until the game starts. Looks like the team is running.
We'll be live for the next 3 minutes here.
Yeah. So keep that in mind.
We have a super chat from Sean. He says 1-4. Ramondre, Saquon, Achane, Monty, Ayuk, Ridley, and he moves. I wonder how many 1-4 teams have Ramondre. Look, this is a guy I've been saying to sell since before the year, every week in the season. But I think, like we talked about earlier in the stream, Badaki, like I just don't think there is any trade value anymore now for Ramondre, and he's a better hold. Like, I think you've well missed the sell high window. Saquon obviously is going to be coming back soon, so he's going to give you a huge boost to your roster. Hopefully Achane's healthy. Montgomery you don't want to sell. I don't want to sell Ayuk, and I don't want to sell Ridley. So I guess Ramondre is the only piece that I'd be interested in moving, but I just, like, could you even get a Brian Robinson? I don't think you could.
For Ramondre?
Yeah.
I think it depends on the person. And what they think about Ramondre in the situation. But yeah, look, I think your best bet is to hold on Ramondre. I personally think that when it comes down to Ramondre, yeah, he's probably been inefficient, but I think it has to do a lot with this offense. You know, Mac Jones hasn't been able to do much in the pocket, and he hasn't really been dumping the ball down to Ramondre as we expected him to, at least specifically the last two games. But I hear you, has been efficient so far on the ground.
Does that change for the offense this year?
I don't know, and that's the thing. I really don't know. Which is a difficult part because, you know, does Bailey Zappi come and look better? We have seen Bailey Zappi, but in fourth quarters, and he didn't look better. But does Bailey Zappi play a full game and look better? I just don't know. I don't know the answer. And maybe that's my Ramondre Stevenson belief coming out, because I don't think it's fully on him. Just like I don't think it's fully on Daniel Jones on why he's bad. It's just this offense is not clicking together whatsoever, which is hindering everyone else around Mac Jones and Daniel Jones. Yeah, it's just tough to say so far. But yeah, you can't move Ramondre at the moment.
No.
I would agree.
Yeah, that's probably it for today, guys. The game starting, we said we'd be live for the next 3 minutes. It's been over 3 minutes now. We appreciate you guys. We'll be live tomorrow. So come join us tomorrow if you want to ask any more questions. Otherwise, we'll see you very soon. Start sits are going to be up tomorrow, so look forward to those. Otherwise, good luck tonight. Hopefully, whatever needs to happen happens. And we'll see you guys soon. Love.
Love.